Hello and welcome back. This is devlog number 3 for uh, my solo adventure by Liege that I'm building. And things have changed quite a bit since the last time we talked because it's been longer than I anticipated. I've been really close to having a prototype of the gameplay ready for people to try, and I kept telling myself that's when I'm going to make the next devlog. And I wanted to maybe like the 25th of August, and then it was the end of the month, and then it turned into this, first week of September. August was just busier than I expected, and then I got sick at one point, so a little bit of a delay. But I'm very happy to announce that I have a prototype out there available. Quick plug for that. The link will be in the description of this video if you want to go check it out. If you play it and you have any feedback, I would love to hear it. You can throw it on comment of this video. You could hit me up on the Discord channel. There's like 3 of us that are fairly active on the Sugoi Penguin Gaming channel, or server, I mean. And oh my gosh, if we had a 4th, it would be a community. Let's go. But I'm just being silly now. Any way you want to provide feedback would be already asking more from you than I could ever expect. So I just appreciate the interest and support. Before we get into things, I have a couple. I got feedback that people really like the cat sightings. So we have one snoozy cat up in it. Oh, wait. Is he? Oh, uh-oh. I think they might be frisky right now, so he's probably going to launch himself from that cat tower pretty soon here. So if you see an orange streak above my head, that's what it is. I don't want to go into a lot of detail about how the gameplay turned out, because that's specifically what the prototype is for, and I don't really want to bias any opinions on that. I want to get some pretty honest feedback for that. So I'm not going to delve too much into that. What I want to do is just highlight a couple of the major changes since last time we talked and wrap it up so that you can go about your day. As you can see, overall, the map and the terrain and everything added a lot to it. There's actual things now, rather than just shades on the ground implying structures. My friend Andrew helped put together a lot of these 3D models, and I built some of my own, and we kind of helped build the town now. Obviously, some corners were cut, all one color, all one texture, but this is kind of the aesthetic that I'm liking it and want to lean more into. This low poly, simplistic things pop. And the Meeples, they've gotten a little bit smaller, they've gotten slower, but their animation is the same. And I gave them items, so you can kind of tell who they are. So this guy, he's on guard duty, he's kind of patrolling around, pretty happy about it. And then over here we've got all the farmers. I wanted to add some like wheat or some kind of plant in the field, but didn't really get around to a solution that I liked yet, so I'm gonna have to spend more time checking things out there. I'm like, Unity's got this in their terrain painter. So over on the right here, I'll make it a little bit bigger. We have the terrain editor. We've got these different paint buttons. They have this grass paint tool, but like, I haven't really gotten it to make grass that I liked, or because I was like, oh, wavy wheat, that seems cool, but I haven't really gotten anything out of it that I liked yet, but definitely something I want to play a lot more with. But what I did utilize is we have a lot more textures now on the terrain, so similarly I can paint texture onto it. And actually, I kind of need to move myself a little bit so you can see the inspector. Maybe I'll lay it on the left side today. We've got these different textures that I can pretty easily switch between and paint onto the surfaces. So that's kind of how able to make these like soft brown patches underneath the sheds and stuff. And then the one that I learned recently, and it was pretty straightforward, just needed to fix the trees. They needed to have certain components attached to it so that it could render correctly at different distances. And so they have this tree brush as well, which is how I was able to more easily paint in a lot of... Ooh, that's a lot of trees. So like we could tone that down. And then kind of just spits them out. You can also have it do randomness. So if I make the height really wide, you know, you can get a lot of different shapes and sizes of trees too. So that's how we kind of planted all these. I wasn't out here manually clicking and dragging. That would have taken forever. There is still some work to do around even this stuff though, because one thing that I found out is the AI navigation that uses what's called what Unity calls this NavMesh system. The NavMesh is able to, and actually I can turn it on here. I don't know if I did this in an earlier video. If I did, sorry. I can show the NavMesh. So all the blue is where the meeples are allowed to walk. And so, for example, with these buildings, I had to define, whoops, let's turn off the brush so that my cursor isn't so distracting. There we go. So for like all these shapes, I had to like define portions of the shape that carved out holes in the mesh as obstacles. And you can see some of the trees are working for that. So like the tree has on it this NavMesh obstacle on the right that defines, hey, I'm an obstacle for the navigation system, carve out a gap. Sorry about that. So that's working great. But then but it only works if I manually place the trees. So for example, these trees that were painted in, they're not doing that, even though they're the same game object. So that's kind of interesting. So there's some work to be done there. What you can see though is that's how these guys kind of know, oh, this is how I get through the door, but I can't walk through these walls. To help clean up some of the navigation as well, I put in some invisible walls. If you've played any sort of RPG, open world kind of thing, you know invisible walls all too well probably. I'm no better. I kind of dropped them in to make sure that they don't cut through the tree line and prioritize, you know, going down this road instead. Similarly, I walled off this like path through the woods so that they can get to this watermill in the way I wanted them to, following the road. Which just want to hype up this watermill. Watermill? Water wheel? I think most people call them water wheels. Just want to hype up the work Andrew did on this. Pretty good looking, if you ask me. And then similarly, kind of break it so that these two, so they don't walk through the river, but they'll walk over this bridge. And so all that's done through Unity's built-in NavMesh system, but learning the nuances of that has been trickier than I expected. And there's still some things I need to figure out about that. Otherwise, oh, there we go. That's a good cat sighting right there. Oh, his tail's wiggling. What's he gonna do? Ooh. No, he's just gonna hang out. Oh, there we go. Good job, buddy. There we go. You got 2 cat sightings in one video. That should be like twice the views, right? So yeah, there's also a lot of things on the back end that I fleshed out. Um, as far as the things we talked about in the previous videos, most of that stayed. All the intent behind it is the same. I'm gonna turn off the mesh here. It's a little too blue for my liking. But if we move me again, and then take a look down in the assets stuff, I kept the idea of storing all the dialogue in separate files. I had not formalized it yet so that it's not so human readable, but and still doing serializing in the game, not on build, but we'll fix that in the future still. But yeah, we've got all the different things that can happen in the game, matters, events. That took a while to write up. I have a whole folder of endings right now. Kind of, rather than having 3 solid different endings, you might get different flavors, different depending on how different things went. And then, you know, just had to build out a lot of other stuff too. One of the main things I'm happiest with, actually, and I will show off just a slight amount of gameplay to show this off, is in these menus, I managed to add in Meeple models, so 3D models, as part of the UI, so that as you kind of go through it, you can see them. And of course, I'm demoing one that doesn't have like any animation on it. Ugh. Let's fix that. Let's see if I can fix that quick. What are you doing back here? Stop it. I heard chewing sounds. So like this one here, you know, this farmer's worried and upset. He's shaking his pitchfork at you. And then you have the different advisors with their different models and stuff. So was pretty happy with how that turned out. I wanted to bring the Meeples even more into focus and add a little personality to them. But yeah, I don't want to ramble too much more, because what I really would like is just for people to play it and give me feedback. So that's what we're up to. I'm really happy that I've gotten into an actual prototype stage and look forward to what's to come. Because my roadmap from here is give people some time, gather some feedback over the next week or two, kind of take in that feedback, really think about the project at large, decide maybe some big goals of where I want the gameplay to be taken to, and then open the scope up rather than cut a lot of corners. For example, the code that right now determines if it's going to show a certain event happening or not, or an issue arising or not, it's all very hard-coded booleans and stuff of just like, do this if these 3 things happened. And I want it to be much more dynamic than that. I don't want it to be a tangle of if statements. I want it to be more, you know, more fluid. So there's a lot of things that are just kind of held together by toothpicks and chewing gum right now that need to be formalized. So open the scope up and really going for you know, as long as I know what I want to make, putting the extra effort into those different subsystems. So yeah, hopefully in the next couple of weeks answer some of those questions, have a more clear angle to take, or clear gameplay direction to take, and that'll likely be when I talk to y'all next. Kind of clarify some of that and help define some scope. So thank you for checking this out. If you made it to here, that's impressive, and I'll I look forward to doing this in the future again.